What a day to be alive. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is your host, True Power is Mine, and this is TPIMSR Live. Today, I'd like to start off with a little story that you all should be aware of by now, seeing how it came out yesterday, about a United States or former United States Marine participating in theft of North Korean documents in Spain. I find it very odd that the United States would actually extradite this individual to face charges that are being brought up by the North Korean government, which should let you know once again, like wrestling, apparently international politics is just a scam. At the end of the day, they're all on the same team. It's all about basically suppressing the human biomass. You really have no choice, guys. This is why I keep on coming back with these shows, hopefully to inspire the young to reject these foolish ways. Sit down at the table of brothers and let's solve these problems together. Because we're at the end of the day, we are in this together. If you pollute and debase the land, we both have to deal with it. If you decide to, I don't know, terrorize one group, we all have to suffer the consequences of this. Let's get into it. Good morning, Frederick. Welcome to the show, brother. Okay. Um, just for my own reasons, I'm not going to say the Marine's name. I don't think it's appropriate to to give out military personnel's names like that in a case that's it's actually ongoing. But basically, February 22nd, oh boy and his friends. Now he belonged to some sort of little splinter group. And this is what I'm telling everybody: you be damn careful about the little groups you associate with. Please, please be careful because a lot of these groups ain't about anything. Oh, you're gonna do this for the cause, blah blah blah, and the only thing you're really getting is jail time. That's not a good proper group to be in. The whole gag, the whole point is to spend more time with your family, more time with the people you love, more time with the people you care about, not less. Ending up incarcerated over some funny stuff. I mean, there's nothing in the documents that they stole that the government, see, basically they stole all these documents and they handed it over to the FBI. The FBI is like, what the hell? And then they don't really do nothing with it and they send it back to North Korea a couple weeks later. So the story goes. Let me, I don't know what this is. This looks like, sorry guys. I literally just woke up. One of my confidential informants sent me this. And I was like, wow, wow. Because as we all know, Kim is going to see Putin or Vladimir. So we have to really understand the play. Uh oh. Lock up your women, lock up your kids. Biden's coming. He's just he's gonna be kissing people, licking kids. I mean, come on. For the soul of it. Really, and this should be an individual talking about the battle for the soul of the nation. At this point in time, it's almost laughable that anybody would fall for the righteous politician gag. Seriously, at this point in time of the game, it really shows a disconnect. Sister Janice, welcome to the show. Glad you could make it. Most High woke you up as well. Creepy Joel. But hold on. Wait, there's more, Janice. Final battle for the soul of the nation. Shock Pope. Biden opens 8 points lead on Trump. Well, I wonder who did they basically interview to get that number. Because the last time I checked, and I'm not being, I have no political affiliation with either party. I haven't gone to the party. And I won't, because, if I want to be disrespected and berated, I can just go out in the streets, just normal style. This is just really sad. Jobless claims jump. But the economy's doing so well, guys. It's doing so well. Let's talk about Bernie. Let's talk about, and don't let this, I'm not letting no one forget this. Bernie Sanders. Let's get tough. Gets tough reception at minority women event. Signaling challenge of head. Well, Bernie, when you come out, you say, "Oh, you blacks, you get no reparations. I don't care." Blah blah blah. If Trump really wants to win this election, all he has to do is listen to what Brother Tim Hayes has said concerning the 14th Amendment. And if Trump wants to come out, and I don't care who you are, if Trump wants to come out and say, America will be great because we're going to make things right. Now, there's been a very, very big disservice done to the African American community, or the chattel descendants of slaves. And he holds up his little sign and he goes, I'm going to initiate the contingencies in the 14th Amendment and get you all economically viable. And once you do get that money, I hope you come to Mar-a-Lago and get a taste of the Trump life. And all you hear, this clapping. Hold on. Oh, you see people crying and shit. Oh my God. All that hateful shit he said be out the window. Ain't nobody forget shit. People probably smack the taste out your mouth. Trump's never said that. Pow. That's all he has to do. And really, some could argue he doesn't even have to do that. And you're right, Janice. He's gonna win. Let's just take it back up to here before I hit the other screenshot. See how slow my computer's? My God, this is just choppy and horrible. Do you want him kissing you, Janice? Do you want him kissing your son or daughter? Vote for me. And we all know what the Democrat stands for. You know what I'm saying? We all know. Oh, here it is, right here. Look. There's Putin. There's Putin. There's Kim Jong-il. But that's I don't want to mess with hopefully you guys can see this. Chinese secret. And okay, now this is. Oh, hell yes. Yes, Janice. Yes, hell yes. Remember what I said in one of my earlier shows about when we were going through the particular North Korean missile launch crisis? Oh my God. I said the best way for Kim Jong-il to truly attack the United States is not with the 8 or 2 fucking missiles he has. He launches his nuclear missiles into Russian territory, detonates, kaboom, Russian automatically responds to the United States with their little dead man switch program. Now, hopefully, they improved that since then. But this article here cracks me up. Chinese secret 11,509 miles per hour hypersonic rocket, which can beat U.S. missiles. Now, how could it be a secret if you already have the damn specs? Why are you going to try to hype it up? The world is a stage, sister. You know it, you know it, you know it. Now, I'm just beside myself. Look at some of these anti-public school. Mm-mm-mm. This is crazy. Oh, this reminds me of surfing. By the way, guys, got a lot of great shows coming up. Um, Hold on. I'm just looking through the news just to see if there's anything remotely interesting. So, did Avengers beat Black Panther as far as opening day? I mean, you're almost getting $1 billion for fucking movies now. So that should let you know right there. There's a lot of fiat currency floating around in the world. Wow. Satanic temple says recognized as church by IRS. So that means Satan's tax exempt. Yeah. Satan people can start building up wealth just like the Catholics did. And then see artificial intelligence as threat to humanity. Good morning, Sister Woods. Welcome to the show. Well, we all should see artificial. It should be 100%. Like the white papers have stated over and over again, useless eaters will not be tolerated. That's a legacy of chattel slavery, by the way, that you have to have a purpose or you don't deserve to life. Only enslaved people, mentally and physically, would think of such notions. I have to work, sisters and brothers. If I don't work, I don't deserve to live. Yet another compelling reason. Greetings, young elder. Welcome to the show. Aren't there a bunch of Satanist statues? Oh, yes, Frederick. Yes, Brother Rogers. There, yes, absolutely. Hold on. Let's How many satanic statues are there in the United States? At Illinois State Capitol. And well, that's just one of many. Oh, this is just so cringy. It looks like Illinois is a hot spot. So all those people dying in Illinois is probably some sort of part of the satanic ritual. Yes. Yes, Janet. This was a nation founded in Satan to abuse people. Any nation that, I'm sorry, guys. I just have to say it like it is. Any nation that starts off talking about we're going to basically exploit these people, but we're going to claim to be free at the same time, is not Christian. It's not Muslim. It's not Hindu. It's Luciferian. It's satanic. Why do you think you have all these obelisks, the Washington Monument? Why do you think you have all these little secretive groups running around here? The sororities, fraternities, um, not even, not to name any, but you guys get the picture. You guys seen the show long enough to know who I'm talking about. See, the problem is once freedom was not given to all, essentially it's given to none. All that's really going on It's the people who had the money in Europe was able to set up shop in here, throw a couple of peasants and then management, maybe a couple of executives, and all that wealth is still being pumped back to Europe. Just like, some of you guys might have heard by now, billions of dollars worth of gold being funneled into Dubai. It's one of the only places that will accept this particular gold, and with because of the Western powers limiting access to gold and diamonds and everything else. But where do you think all that gold's going to? It's going from Dubai to Europe, Dubai to China, Dubai to private collectors in the U.S. You can't. Okay, when we're dealing with economics and economical systems, we have to look at it from 2 points of view. One, we have to determine what is the purpose, and don't just spare me with, oh, it's to distribute the resources fairly and equally amongst the people. Just stop it with that, okay? Because we know that we have had human societies and civilizations prior to the invention of economic and monetary systems, okay? So we have to determine the true purpose to create such a system. And then, secondly, we need to determine what would be the tangible effects seen by the populace that the system is perpetrated on. And listen to the words I'm purposefully choosing. The reason why you're going to be marked for death, Brother Frederick, Sister Janice, Sister Woods, and everyone else hearing me, more than likely, is because at one point in time in the time stream, at a certain, not one point, but at a certain point in time in this time stream, you are going to be deemed by the power in control as being useless and or obsolete. Thus, going back to the chattel slavery aspect, that even though you think you're free, you feel you can say a couple of things. As we all know, you can't honestly say anything you want. Um, you're going to end up, I'm sorry, but you're going to end up terminated. And this isn't not what I want to happen. If I had my choice or my say so, I would rather all of us come together in humanhood, accept one another, and go on about our business. But seeing how some people feel it's their right to abuse others or mistreat others, that's why we're in this situation, folks. Now, I wish we could somehow fix this thing to where we can reconcile all of our differences. All those towers are for that purpose, extermination. Yes, the 5G, the towers that are up now, they're zapping our harmonics, our natural body energy. And I know China, or not China, but science does not recognize chi as a true energy form or wave or force because they can't detect it with their tools. But it's ignorance is like being in a cave. And even though one is in a cave, one still has intellect, and they put together a telescope. Do the stars really not exist just because you're in a cave and you can't see past the cave to see the stars? Because if you think that we are at the apex of technology on this planet, you're sadly mistaken. We're still quite primitive, at least with the equipment that's been presented to us. It's unfixable. This is a military operation by the small hats. Oh my God, Janice, sister, speaking it today. I'm not going to disagree with her because it's the truth. I mean, show me some evidence that's not. Show me evidence that the nation of Israel is welcoming to melanated people from Ethiopia. Show me evidence that the nation of Israel is open to true reconciliation and peace with the Palestinians. Show me that the nation of Israel is truly the chosen people of God and that they love and worship Him when most of them are actually atheists. It's a joke. It's just baubles. It's trickery. It's whatever you want to call it. It's not real. Israel is not real. The Middle East is not real. Africa is not real. What I mean by is not real is that these places, if we really look into the archaeological records with a honest and open interpretation, not some Victorian uh, inf- uh, superiority complex uh, mindset, then it's pretty obvious to see that yes, there has been really advanced civilization here before. The construction of the pyramids, the construction of other uh, ancient sites truly shows this. In fact, look at this. I want to show you this picture. Oop, hold on. Okay, now look at this picture, folks. Now, if you didn't know no better, wouldn't you say that came from Puma Punku in South America? You know how they have the stones and you see these recesses, and that's kind of the look of the stone. But that's not. This is coming out of Ethiopia. It's finally been stood back up. It's huge, monolithic. And you can see this type of architecture all over the world. So I want people to get out of my personal face talking all this crazy shit about, we really didn't have advanced, societies until the Greeks and Romans came along. No, they were the mental parasites that took the aspects of the old ways, distorted it, brainwashed their populations with their ideals, and they were able to, come up with advanced weaponry and tactics, spiritual tactics that basically devastate the rest of the world. And then afterwards, they can destroy pieces of art like this so that no one will ever see it, and then claim dark brown skinned people, um, kinky haired people, you know, are not worthy. And people buy it. You know why they buy it, brothers and sisters? Because this system is a self reinforcing reality machine. Meaning you can say some of the most horrendous, stereotypical BS, and then you can go out in academia or journalism and find stories to support your BS. And that is the foundation of propaganda. Irregardless to the reality that each and every one of us could change. At any moment in time we choose to, we could actually change the being that we are. But we get locked into these labels. We get locked in. And who's locking us in? Well, the people who have the power, the people who truly have control. Like I said, we're really quick to rip each other apart. But ain't nobody going up against Goldman Sachs. No one's really going in on the Catholic Church. No one's really gonna uh, uh, talk about the growing white nationalist threat to people of color. It's not a threat to the nation. Don't forget, this is a nation of white people, for white people, by white people, as stated in the Constitution. Now, I know some of that has been taken back. The sad thing is, that it had to be taken back to begin with. What type of deranged soul could understand and comprehend what freedom and liberty is all about, and at the same time possess slaves? And then so thoroughly even pervert the notion of slavery as to turn it into chattel slavery in perpetuity. See, that word in perpetuity, forever, that in itself should never apply to any aspect of government, apply to people, because we're constantly in a state of change. And if you don't believe me, well, then you keep trying to operate on the technology you're using now. In 20 years, you will be sitting there looking at a box, not being able to communicate with a soul. I mean, I doubt whether anyone in this chat room or anyone listening to this video now or in the future, hopefully near future, is using Windows 2.1X or Windows 95. Yo, Pat, check out NJ, Attorney General, just blew my mind. Who does that dude with the smooth scully cap work for? Shoot me out a link, Brother David, and I'll check it out. I'll pull it up for us to see. Why won't Israel allow TV in their country? Because they know it's a military operation. Shit, you know that's right, sister. These people, man, look, we're the only ones stuck on stupid. Yeah, I'm sorry. I really hate to say that. We are. We're the only ones stuck on stupid. Talking about, okay, let me say it like this. When you truly get power, you're going to understand how to will power. Now, sometimes you will power by sending in crack ground troops and smashing people over the head. Sometimes you will power by just allowing those who have no power to complain. $5G. Hold on. Let me, hold on. I just pulled up, let's see what's going on here. Wow. Hold on. Let's, okay. We're just going to take this part right here. Because I'm tired, yeah. I literally just woke up. And we're going to do Jersey. I don't think I'd do it like that. We'll do it like that. All right. Let's see what's going on.
New Jersey Attorney General Gerbia Gruel announced the results of a multi-agency sting operation called Operation Home Alone, which led to the arrests of 16 men who allegedly targeted minors for sexual encounters through social media and smartphone apps. Gruel and Bergen County Prosecutor Dennis Call announced the arrests at a press conference Wednesday. We're working aggressively to catch these sex offenders, but we can't do it alone. Parents need to familiarize themselves with these apps. Be vigilant about stranger danger at the park and be equally, if not more vigilant about the nightmares lurking in these new cyber playgrounds. pic.twitter.com DW2JFHUTQ3 Gerbia Gruel at New Jersey Oak, April 24, 2019. The 16 men we arrested
Welcome,
allegedly
Brother
used
Albert.
social media to stalk victims they believed were vulnerable children who could be sexually exploited. Gruel https www.nj.gov/og/news releases 19/PR20190424a.html said in a release Wednesday. Fortunately, their victims were really undercover officers prepared to put them in handcuffs, drag and drop your files, or type.
It's the end of the world. Not even close. All right, what did we say earlier, guys? You know, here, look into the eyes of the guy that wants to run up into children. Let's do this. Let's do this the way we do it. Let's look into the eyes. I'm looking into this cat's eyes, and all I'm seeing is intent. Intent to deceive, trying to look menacing. But you can look and you can start seeing some pain. This guy has been abused himself. He's been abused sexually. And he has been groomed as well. Look at those delicate hands. He's never worked a day in his life. Not like we do. And I think he's upset that his buddies got busted and now people are suspecting him of the same activity. These guys are brothers. They're two peas in the pod. Hey, Alexandra, welcome back. Yes, they do. I did a video about it. How they would take a child, beat the child, so then they can pull off that anchoron juice in the spine. Just look at him. And don't forget, he's a high-ranking government official having sex with kids. It's a part of our culture, you know. This is laughable. This is absolutely laughable. So while we try our best, hold on, I want to play that little thing again for everybody who just showed up, so you know where we're at.
New Jersey Attorney General Gerbia Gruel announced the results of a multi-agency sting operation called Operation Home Alone, which led to the arrests of 16 men who allegedly targeted minors for sexual encounters through social media and smartphone apps. Gruel and Bergen County Prosecutor Dennis Call announced the arrests at a press conference Wednesday. We're working aggressively to catch these sex offenders, but we can't do it alone. Parents need to familiarize themselves with these apps. Be vigilant about stranger danger at the park and be equally, if not more vigilant about the nightmares lurking in these new cyber playgrounds. pic.twitter.com DW2JFHUTQ3 Gerbia Gruel at New Jersey Oak, April 24, 2019. The 16 men we arrested allegedly used social media to stalk victims they believed were vulnerable children who could be sexually exploited. Gruel https www.nj.gov/og/news releases 19/PR20190424a.html said in a release Wednesday. Fortunately, their victims were really undercover officers prepared to put them in handcuffs, drag and drop your files, or type.
Okay, my bad. I want to retract what I said. I still think I can see pain in the eyes. But then that would lead me for a different interpretation of this one. He's actually upset that his buddies, you notice they didn't release the name. Wait, let me find out if they did. See, sometimes even I jump to conclusions. But overall, if I only had more coffee, Let me hold on. Building the third temple in Israel. Dun 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 dun. Israel has officially called to build the third temple. Israel plans to build the third temple and the Tower of Babel. Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. You know, they can. What did it say in the book of Enoch? If I believe Baziel is an angel, supposed to be extremely high, but apparently, if Baziel could find himself to earth, then he can get to heaven. Basically, what's suggesting that like earth is a portal to heaven, you know, and that's what the whole tower is supposed to represent. It, man. Hey, what's up, brother Nick? Welcome to the show. I'm glad everybody's joining us today. It's a good day. Hopefully, guys enjoyed the chat yesterday. Hold on. I want to find some April 4th. For the first time ever, Israel politicians has had the temerity to build a third temple. Tenacity. Let's see what's up. But don't forget, I really should get some of the Talmud. And I'm letting everybody know you better watch the Temple Mount's been closed for a hot minute. You know, those of you who know about the dome of the rock there. All right, let's do this.
For the first time ever, an Israeli politician has had the temerity to publicly declare what, for more than 2,000 years, the Jewish people have prayed for: build the temple now. Moshe Feigelin, head of the Zehat Party, shocked participants at Imariv Jerusalem post-conference in Tel Aviv on Wednesday night.
Oh, we gotta do it like that.
I don't want to build a third temple in 1 or 2 years. I want to build it now, Feigelin said to the crowd. To build the temple, I need support. I can't do it alone, he said in concluding his speech. The Maverick Zehat Party is steadily gaining traction in the polls under the banner of Jewish rights in the Holy Land, much to the chagrin of their left-wing opponents. A Temple Mount agenda is built into his party's platform, which calls to move government facilities to the Temple Mount and give the chief rabbinate authority over the site. Many have said that this is an extremist position which will lead to war, but Shmuel Sackett, co-founder of the party and one of its candidates for the Knesset, refuted these claims. An illustration of the Muslim Dome of the Rock left pictured next to the rebuilt Holy Temple on the Temple Mount. Wikimedia Commons John Preacher. Building the third and final temple in Jerusalem has been the dream of Jews for more than 2,000 years. The goal of the State of Israel is to bring about the fulfillment of the Jewish dream and not the destruction of it, Sackett told Breaking Israel News. We must educate the world as to the beauty of that dream and to the wonderful peace it will bring. Not every dream can be realized immediately, but we must do what we can to move closer to that reality. Sackett said that his party's name, which means identity, had a special meaning in Israeli politics. He referred to the title of Benjamin Netanyahu's book, A Durable Peace, A Place Among the Nations. Israel is not like every nation, Sackett emphasized, citing Exodus. But you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Exodus chapter 19 verse 6. In Hebrew.
Hold on, I gotta stop this madness. Now, how they gonna be sitting up here using? Hold on. Israel, the most atheist country in the world. right here. Mm, ah, whatever.
In Hebrew, Kuedos holy actually means separate, Sackett explained. Israel has a special role to play, and when we do, there will be peace for everyone. Rabbi Haim Salem, number 2 in the Zehat list, responded to those concerns simply. Who does not want Mashiach, Messiah? That is what we are saying, he said to Breaking Israel News. He noted that the same concern was expressed when President Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Salem paraphrased the president by saying, "We have tried it that way for a very long time and it has only brought more conflict. It is time to try this way."
What happened to
We do not want war, Rabbi Salem explained. The time to build the temple is when the entire world wants it, and that time is very close indeed. Salem's vision of unity is based on his personal experience. He is a former Knesset member for Shas, an ultra-Orthodox Sephardi party, but which draws from all aspects of Israeli society, unifying them all under one common theme, the Jewish state. This is what brought me to join with Feiglin, and everyone identifies with this, Salem said. The Zehat Party is composed of veteran political iconoclasts. Its founder, Moshe Feiglin, established the Manhigat Yehudit Jewish leadership movement within the Likud Party in 1995. In the 2012 Likud leadership election, his faction won 23% of the vote. In the 2013 elections, Feiglin was elected to the Knesset and served as its deputy speaker. In 2015, Netanyahu blocked Feiglin's growing popularity among the electorate by placing him 36th in the party list. A position that made it extremely unlikely he would sit in the Knesset even if the party was successful in the elections. Feiglin chose not to appeal the move and left to form the Zehat Party. Until recently, most media refused to list Zehat in polling results despite estimates they could win 9 seats. Even the most conservative estimates are now sure they will pass the 3-seat threshold to sit in the Knesset. Considered quasi-libertarian, Feiglin is a strong advocate for increasing the availability of medical cannabis and approving its export. The party has been lambasted in the press for its pro-medical marijuana platform, a position the left-wing media usually promotes. Moshe Feiglin, photo by Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz, Breaking Israel News. The real animus from the left is due to an issue that Feiglin explicitly stated he will always place foremost in his politics, the land of Israel. Unlike other political parties which make this claim, Feiglin has a long history of fighting against abandoning land that gives strength to this campaign promise. His personal attachment to Jerusalem is undeniable, as he frequently ascends to the Temple Mount and has attended every temple reenactment. Feiglin has fought for this belief. In 1995, he led mass protests against the government signing agreements with Yasser Arafat.
Okay, enough. Oh my God, jeez. So basically, man, they're trying to make it look cool and trendy. Hey, man, we're going to win. You can get up there and roll up dubs on the mountain, smoke up, blah, 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 blah. Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitic. Uh-oh. Holocaust denier alert. Look, we got to understand, man. Boy, something's happening to Denzel. If you look, either he's acting right here on this picture or somebody totally got into dude's mind. Look at the eyes. He's like, man, I got to do what I got to do. Why is police officer in America been trained in Israel? I don't know. Maybe Israel had some of the best policing techniques left over by the SS Waffen. I don't know. That's who basically trained them in the old days. But Israel's going to do what Israel does. You're not going to stop it. I'm not going to stop it. No one's going to stop it. You know reason why? Because these people are just straight up, damn, man. I really need to get a hold of. I'm going to show you guys something. Let me get this up. I still can't. I got to actually put. Okay, there we go. I am working very hard on this mill. It has slowed down considerably. That's how I know that I've been shadow banned on YouTube. Yay, YouTube, yay. Cut me out of the whole process, yay. But I am still trying to type back a personal email to each of these emails, and it's quite a bit. Sorry. All right. I need some energy, man. I need some psychic energy. If you have any energy to spare, please send it to me. Because this stuff here is just, it almost makes you want to do this number here. It's like, what the fuck are they all thinking? Patrick, find the document. Document saying blacks are a threat to it. What? Well, I mean, I can understand why they could be, we could be considered threatening because we are truly the Semitic people, but they're trying to make it like, well, that's probably, okay, hold on. Uh-oh, here we go. Black lives do not matter in Israel? This came out in May. All right, let's check this out, man. Hold on. Now my computer just wants to run slow. Oh, whoa. I'm already not digging this. Copy. Oh, I can already tell you, I already saw that first sentence, and I'm not digging that. I'm not digging that shit at all. But we got to understand, man, who's running the show, the people in power. And that's not the people that was spoken of in the Bible. And they know who they are. They know that they're not them people. Hold on.
Comments made by Israel's top political and religious leaders earlier this month are a dismal reminder of how little Black lives matter in the country. And how African refugees remain in mortal danger, whether or not the government's plan to deport them is temporarily suspended.
Oh, come on. I have to...
On March 17th, one of Israel's two chief rabbis, Yitzhak Yosef, called black people monkeys and the Hebrew equivalent of the N-word in his weekly sermon. It is highly unlikely that Yosef will face any real repercussions for his racist comments. He was not demoted after saying in a similar sermon exactly 2 years ago that all non-Jews, Africans, Arabs, or otherwise could only live in Israel if they agree to serve the country's Jewish population. It's unclear if Yosef's recent comments were directly connected to the Israeli government's impending expulsion of approximately 40,000 African refugees, mainly Christians and Muslims from Eritrea and Sudan. The government has already coerced more than a third of the African refugee community in Israel, over 20,000 souls, to return to Africa. Israeli journalists have revealed in recent months that the government's promises to secure status for them in Rwanda or Uganda were only a ruse, devised to deport them back into a stateless existence with their ostensible acquiescence. Read more. Israel issues deportation notices to African migrants. To be fair, racist comments from state-paid rabbis aren't exactly a rarity in Israel. Israel's other chief rabbi, Yisrael Lau, used the N-word to describe black athletes on his very first day in office in July 2013. But another anti-African comment made last week by Israel's most powerful politician was almost certainly timed to coincide with the government's efforts to ethnically cleanse the country of the refugees. On March 19th...
Hold on, I gotta stop there. I'm gonna play it off. But now do you not see the play? Why do you say, when I said the SS WAF and taught these people how to operate? It's cool for them to ethnically cleanse. It's cool for them to blow up and take land. And it's cool for them not to even be the people spoken of in the Bible doing all this in the name of God that they don't even believe in. Let's continue.
On March 19th, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a public speech that the arrival of non-Jewish African refugees was much worse for Israel than severe attacks by Sinai terrorists. Netanyahu's comments come as citizens across the country have been publicly expressing reservations to his expulsion plan. Since the start of the calendar year, Israelis from all walks of life have registered their adamant opposition to the planned deportations, scheduled to begin on April 1st. Doctors and artists, professors and pilots, students and survivors of the Holocaust. On Saturday night, a pro-refugee protest in Tel Aviv drew over 20,000 people opposed to the expulsion. But Netanyahu need not worry about amassing support for the deportation plan. True, a recent poll proved that the majority of the Israelis that live in proximity to the African refugees in the greater Tel Aviv area generally, and in the slums of South Tel Aviv specifically, opposed the expulsions. But outside of that liberal bubble, Netanyahu has easily secured support for his plan. Netanyahu might not be losing sleep over local opposition to the deportations, but he is most certainly concerned by Jewish communities outside of Israel starting to kick up a fuss. As news of Netanyahu's cruel decree reaches the mainstream media outside of Israel, American Jewish leaders are unable to ignore the issue any longer. Even some of the most adamant defenders of the Israeli state and its dispossession of the Palestinian people have spoken out against the plan, calling it racist, and practically pleading with the Israeli government to scrap it. Some rabbis are vowing to thwart the expulsion plan by hiding African refugees in their homes, evoking the memory of Anne Frank, the iconic chronicler of the horrors of the Holocaust. In Nazi-occupied Amsterdam, Frank and her family temporarily avoided being deported to the death camps by hiding with the help of non-Jews. This week, Israel's High Court will consider a petition by pro-refugee activists to permanently halt the deportations. So with his plan in possible peril, Netanyahu described the refugees as worse than terrorists, in an obvious attempt to smear them as enemies of the state, in order to justify their impending expulsion. The last time that Netanyahu associated African refugees with terrorists was at another very critical moment, when the fate of these refugees hung in the balance. Watch 2400. Deportation or prison, Israel's African asylum seekers. In September 2014, Israel's High Court deemed Netanyahu's anti-refugee policies unconstitutional.
That's insanity. This is just pure. Oh no! Oh my God! At least I can go to history. Because once again, hold on. No, it's this.
Armed with U.S. bombs and British-made fighter jets, Saudi Arabia and its allies have been waging a ruinous war on Yemen for the last 4 years. Since they intervened in the country's civil war on March 26, 2015, more than 19,000 raids have been carried out in Yemen, the Arab world's poorest country. When the aerial campaign commenced, expectations were high that the coalition assembled by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman would crush the alliance of Houthi rebels and army forces loyal to former President Ali Abdullah Saleh within a matter of weeks. But after nearly 4 years of fighting, and an estimated 60,000 deaths, the coalition has failed to pave the way for the recapture of the capital, Sana'a, and most urban centers. Despite assurances by the coalition that all precautionary measures would be taken to avoid civilian casualties, a sizable number of coalition attacks have targeted civilian areas. According to data collected by the Yemen Data Project, nearly 2/3 of the coalition's air raids have struck non-military and unknown targets. Airports, ports, bridges and roads have all been repeatedly attacked. So, too, have farms, schools, oil and gas facilities, factories and private businesses. According to rights groups, the coalition has not accidentally attacked civilian infrastructure, it has been doing it deliberately. Between June and September, when the coalition launched a new offensive on the port city of Hodeidah, fatalities increased by a staggering 164%. Because of these incessant attacks, Yemen's civilian, economic and medical infrastructures have been pushed to the brink of collapse. Today, Yemen is the site of a horrific civil war, and the world's worst humanitarian crises. According to the United Nations, up to 20 million Yemenis, roughly 2/3 of the country's population, are food insecure. Thousands of people are starving to death and dying from preventable diseases, while an average of 8 civilians die from bombs and bullets every day. In this interactive, based on data collected by the Yemen Data Project, an air raid refers to a single incident which could comprise multiple attacks. Because it was not possible to generate an average number as these vary greatly, from one attack up to several dozen, so-called double taps, have been counted as one air raid, not two. Al Jazeera. Death from above. Every Saudi coalition air raid on Yemen. Facebook. Twitter. WhatsApp. Who controls Yemen? Toggle the map layers. 4 years after the launch of the Saudi-led campaign, the bulk of Yemen's northern highlands, as well as the capital city of Sana'a, remain under the control of Houthi rebels. While Hodeidah, home to Yemen's largest port and the main gateway for food, fuel and humanitarian aid entering the country, has seen a lull in fighting since December after the implementation of a ceasefire agreement between the Yemeni government and Houthi rebels, the violence has continued unabated elsewhere. In Tariz, Yemen's third-largest city, local militias backed by the United Arab Emirates have turned on each other since they expelled Houthi fighters from large sections of the city. While Yemeni forces backed by the coalition have made notable gains in some areas bordering the kingdom, as well as in Nihm district in the Sana'a governorate, some 50 kilometers east of the capital. More than 15 million Yemenis are still estimated to live under Houthi control. President Abd Rabu Mansour Hadi and his Prime Minister, Ma'in Abdul Malik Saeed, govern from the port city of Aden. But their government has failed to convene one session of parliament since the war erupted. They have also failed to contend with a separatist movement in the south that has intensified its calls for an uprising against the internationally recognized government. The UAE-backed Southern Transitional Council (STC) has repeatedly undermined the government as it seeks to revive the former South Yemen Republic which merged with the North in 1990. At the same time, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has continued to launch deadly attacks but appears to have shifted its priorities. The armed group has lost large areas of territory it once controlled to UAE-backed militias, however it still operates training camps in some areas of the south and continues to take credit for attacks on Houthi-linked targets. In July, one of Al-Qaeda's senior leaders, Khalid Baitafai, said his group had reduced attacks against President Hadi and UAE-backed forces because assailing him would benefit the Houthis. Also in the south, the Yemeni chapter of the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, ISIL or ISIS, has exploited the security vacuum and claimed responsibility for several attacks against Al-Qaeda, Houthi fighters and pro-government troops. Al Jazeera. Death from above. Every Saudi coalition air raid on Yemen. Facebook. Twitter. WhatsApp. Air raids in 2015. At the request of Yemen's internationally recognized Yemeni government, Saudi Arabia formed a military coalition of several Arab nations to assist Yemen's armed forces in fighting the Houthi rebels. Although the Saudi-led coalition only intervened in Yemen at the end of March, they carried out more air raids in 2015 than any other year. The United States, the United Kingdom and Germany, among several other nations, lent their support to the coalition in the form of weapons, intelligence and training.
Okay. So now that the Middle East, I'm just saying that just for conversation's sake, is totally ununified, fragmented, engaging in fratricide. Who's going to stop the building of the temple now? Nobody. As it's been planned. Keep playing these games, man. I can go to India and show you where you're not loved there as well. Show you understand why people treat you the way they do. India races against black people.
The dark face of Indian racism. Africans staying in the country repeatedly subjected to ridicule, insults and attacks. Published January 2, 2019, 2057. By Karuna Madden, correspondent. WLD African Immigrants 22, read only. There is a multitude of problems that African nationals face in India, apart from their portrayal as criminals. Image credit, supplied. New Delhi, almost 2 years after an attack on 5 African nationals in Greater Noida that drew global outrage, not much has changed, with many Africans stereotyped as drug peddlers and pimps. As they keep facing racial discrimination and violence in their everyday lives in the country. There is a multitude of problems that African nationals face in India, apart from their negative portrayal as criminals. Many in India often refer to the African people as Nigerians, almost as a term of abuse. In some instances, African students, conscious of their skin color, said they felt isolated. 60,000 Africans of different nationalities living in India. There are approximately 60,000 Africans of different nationalities residing in India. Many have faced racial discrimination at some point of time during their stay in the country. Majority of Africans who have come to reside in the country are either pursuing higher studies or working. According to the Association of African Students in India, AASI, about 25,000 Africans study in Indian universities, drawn by their high academic standards, low fees and the use of English language as the medium of instruction. Nigeria sends the highest numbers to India, followed by Sudan and Kenya. Most of the Africans in India are seen as criminals. I don't know why Indians think we are drug peddlers or burglars. I am not saying all of us are innocent, but for the fault of a few, all Africans who come to India should not be seen through the prism of discrimination and hatred. Michael Kwaje, name changed. A law student from Ghana told Gulf News here. 25,000 Africans studying at various Indian universities. Another Nigerian student said typecasting every African as a drug peddler was like calling every Indian a rapist. It may be a brutal analogy to hear for some, but it is accurate in invoking the indiscriminate, unfair way in which negative stereotyping works. Indians slam racial attacks on other Indians abroad and describe them as hate crimes. But the grievous attacks on African students in the past prove that Indians are no better than those whom they call racists. They don't understand that we are here because we love India, no matter what, a Gambian student studying architecture in Delhi told Gulf News on condition of anonymity.